In this movie, we'll begin writing our own conditional statements using the Query Designer in Access. We'll be using the Expression Builder to help us generate proper syntax, and we'll be using some mathematical expressions to evaluate our data. So let's get started. In this case, the question I want to find out is which employees met the sales goal of $50,000 in 2013 and therefore earned a bonus. So let's first create a new select query in order to gather the records that we need. I'll create a new query in Design View, and we'll add our employees table here. And then in order to find out what their sales totals were, we need to add the orders table, and then finally the products table. Let's go ahead and close the Show Table window and add in some fields. From the employees table, I'm going to add employee ID, first name, and last name. Then from the orders table, I'm going to grab the order date so we can use that to filter on. And then finally from the products table, I'm going to find the suggested retail price. Now for this query, we're trying to find the sum total of our employees' total sales over the course of the year. So that's telling me that I need to turn this into a totals query here. So I'll go ahead and turn on the totals row, and you'll notice that everything gets listed here as group by. I'm going to go to the suggested retail section, and I'm going to change it from group by to sum, so it'll add up all of the prices across the year. Now I also need to provide that year filter. So underneath order date, I'm going to go to the criteria, and I'm going to actually right-click here and say zoom so I have some more room to type. And I'll just type out the equation between, and I'll type out the year for 2013, so that'd be 1/1/2013, and the last day of the year, 12/31/2013. We'll go ahead and say OK. Now one more thing I need to do here, I need to change this group by from group by to where, so that I can use this as a filtering criteria but not affect the grouping levels. Let's go ahead and return the results and we'll see if we're getting close. Now I can see that I have 19 employees that had sales in 2013. And if I take my sorting here and sort largest to smallest, I can see how everybody stacks up for the year. Let's go back into Design View here. Now before I get started with the IEF, I want to clean this up a little bit. Before suggested retail, let's add the alias 2013 sales, and we'll remember to add the colon at the end. And then I'm also going to change this to hard code the sorting. So I'm going to sort it descending, so that the highest number is at the top. If I run it again, I get the new alias and the sort is hard coded. So we're in a good spot to start. All right, let's go back into Design View, and we're going to come out here to the next column. Here, I'm going to right-click and say Build to launch the Expression Builder. Now we can find the IEF function in the Functions group, Built-in Functions, and they're in a special group here called Program Flow. So there's IEF here. I'll double-click on it to add it into the cell up above. Now we can see that IEF has 3 arguments: the expression that we're going to evaluate, the part to return if that evaluates to true, and the part to return if the expression evaluates to false. Let's go ahead and start filling in our expressions here. What we want to do is to find out if the employee's annual sales for 2013 were above $50,000. So what we can do here is put in a reference to the 2013 sales value that we have already down in our query design grid down below. In order to do that, I'm just going to type in a square bracket. I'll type in 2013 sales, and then a closing bracket. That'll refer to the values that appear in this particular column of the query. Next, I want to find out if they are greater than 50,000. So I'll just type in a greater than sign, and then 50,000. So that's the expression that we're going to evaluate for each of our salespeople. If this evaluates to true, I'm going to come over to this true part, and we're going to output a text string that says earned bonus. So in quotation marks, I'll write in the text earned bonus. Now if this 2013 sales is not greater than 50,000, then that means the employee did not earn a bonus, unfortunately. So what we need to do is come over to this false part and put in the text no bonus. Remember to enclose it in quotation marks. So there's our completed IEF function. Let's just go ahead and say OK to that. And down here in the bottom, I need to actually give it a better alias instead of expr1. So I'm going to call this bonus. Finally, because we've turned the totals row on for this, we actually need to change group by here to expression so that Access will evaluate this function. Let's go ahead and run it and see the result. Now we can see the employees that earned a bonus, and we can also see the employees that unfortunately did not earn a bonus. Let's go ahead and modify our IEF function to add some functionality here. Let's go back into Design View, and on this bonus column, I'll right-click and go back to the builder. So instead of just returning text values here, like earned bonus or no bonus, we can actually return some mathematical operations. So instead of earned bonus here, I'm going to highlight this and delete it, including the quotation marks. Now between this first comma and the second comma, I'm going to put in the mathematical function that'll calculate what the bonus actually is. In this case, the bonus is going to be 10% of their salary. So I'm going to open up a bracket and type in salary, closing bracket, times 0.1. This will be their bonus percentage. For the no bonus folks, they're not going to get any bonus, unfortunately, so we're just going to highlight this and return a 0. Now in the if function, I want to multiply the salary times 0.1, but I don't have salary in my grid yet. So let's go ahead and say OK to save this function, and we'll need to add the salary to this column over here. In order to do that, we'll find it in the employees table here. I'll scroll down, and we'll just double click on salary. Let's go ahead and run the function. Now we can see what their employee's salary is, and we can see what their bonus is being calculated as 10% of their bonus, but only if they made over $50,000 in total 2013 sales. So there's our first conditional statement. We made use of the expression builder to help us format our statement properly and to reduce errors. And we were able to verify that it returned the expected results. I hope that at this point you're beginning to see why I like conditionals so much. Being able to instruct Access how to make decisions on its own is pretty cool. But more importantly, I want you to take a moment before moving on to the next movie and think about all of the ways that your workflow could benefit from using conditional functions. And I promise that once you start looking, you're going to come up with a ton. They're extremely flexible and can help out in unexpected ways. In the next movie, we're going to take a look at another of the program flow functions that I find very useful.